I am absolutely for it. But we have lost our mind as a culture. We have lost our mind as a culture. Listen to the Wall Street Journal. This isn't Christianity Today. This isn't a pastor's blog. This is the Wall Street Journal. Here's the title of the article. Youth sports have gotten too crazy. They should relax. More kids, now into the article, more kids are bailing early on organized sports, undone by the pressures and the financial hurdles and the injuries. The statistics are troubling. A survey conducted by the Aspen Institute and Utah State Families in Sports Lab found that the overall youth team sport participation in the U.S. is on the decline. Just 38% of kids are playing team sports today, down from 45% a decade ago. Listen to this. This is a Wall Street Journal. The average kid is quitting youth sports after less than 3 years at age 11. They're quitting because the pressure has gotten so great. We've seen it in our own life. My wife called when my son was in elementary school, called the football program, just kind of a little kid football program, said, hey, I just want to find out, when do we sign up? How do we sign up? What's going on? What's happening with this? And the lady that works for the football program said this, you know that our program is cutthroat. And my wife said, he's in elementary school. And she said, yeah, it's cutthroat. I remember when I was a coach for my daughter's softball team. It was 8 years and under. I was the head coach. I learned this lesson. There's a big difference between the head coach and the assistant coach. Very big difference on workload of what's happening. So I was the head coach, 8-year-old girls and under as I was the head coach on. It was a lot of fun. They were great girls. They were awesome. But you know what? We weren't really that good. And I'll just admit to you, it's a coaching problem is what it was. I just thought we were going to have some fun. I didn't know how serious this thing was going to get. We lost every single game except one game that year. The only game that we won is when I was gone on a trip speaking in Colorado, okay? So I wasn't even there. So the only game they won is when I wasn't there, okay? So I'm taking all the blame for this. So let me tell you about one game, though. We showed up at one game, and you know how it is if you're a parent, if you're a parent. It was kind of that 5:30 game, so everybody's panicked, trying to get away from work, trying to get to the kids' game on time. Everybody's going. It's Houston traffic, so it's like what was 15 minutes is now 45 minutes, and everybody rolls in, so the stands are filled with people dressed in business attire, basically, is what they're having. Everybody came from work. And so there we are, and so we're beginning our drills to kind of get started, and everything's happening, and the other team shows up, and I'm telling you, they were sponsored like by Nike or something. It was like the Harlem Globetrotters playing the Washington Generals is what was taking place. So they're like, their drills are flipping the ball behind their back, and I mean, all these different, hey, all right, come on. And we're like, did anybody bring a ball? Anybody got a ball? Anybody got a bat? So we get there, and the game starts, and everything takes off. And they put the pedal down like you've never seen. And their entire game plan was to exploit the mistakes of 8-year-old girls. That was the entire game plan. And what that means in softball is this. We are going to run every single base on every single hit. So they would get a little hit, and they would take off at first. There'd be no thought of stopping at first. They would turn and go to second. They would turn and go to third because they knew the statistical chance of us getting the ball to get them out, to finally get it to the pitcher, was so low. And then when they got that kid to third, they'd run them into score, run them into score, run them into score, run them into score. So that we all spent about 45 minutes getting to the game, and the game lasted about 20 minutes, and our kids batted one time, because the run rules was so great. And so I finally, at the point in the game, I was watching this happen, and I became like the shepherd with the sheep and started getting kind of aggravated about it. And so I just walked out of the third base dugout, walked over to the third base coach, and I said, y'all are ahead by like 15 runs. We haven't scored this many runs all year. You're going to kill us. Can you take your foot off the gas just a little bit? And she looked me in the eye and said, no. And I mean, I'm getting hot just telling you right now. I mean, and I looked her in the eye and I said, there's a difference in winning and breaking their spirit. And I turned and walked back into the dugout. See, it's one thing to defeat teams, and I'm all for winning. It's another thing to defeat people. You see it? And at the end of the time, when it was kind of the walk and shake hands, I shook hands with the coach, and I looked in the eye and I said, I disagree. And I don't know if you disagree or not. Maybe you don't. I'm a competitor. I like to win just like anybody. But I don't think the game plan should be to exploit the mistakes of 8-year-old girls so that you can be a higher seed in the tournament. I disagree. Maybe you make your own decision. And so in that moment, I got all the girls together, and all these little girls came together. And so I'm like, hey, guys, good stuff, man. Great job. Hang in there, all that stuff. And these little girls looked up, and they went, did we win? And you know what I said? Yes, we did. There's a lot of ways to win. We didn't win on the scoreboard, but we won in integrity. We won in perseverance. We won in showing up. We won in going for it. We won classy, and some people didn't, you know. I didn't say that, but there's a lot of ways to win, and we won. Well, you know what? Justice will be served in kind of different ways. And so that team that whipped us like that played another team that a guy that was the coach, he was a guy that goes to our church, and he was doing it right. He was building character and building skill all in the same way. It was a great thing. And those two teams met in the finals. And I showed up, and I said, I'm not going to miss this. And I sat on the second row, and I was like, yeah, to our guy that goes to our church that I knew well. And I was like, come on, let's go. And that team with the guy from our church, he whipped them. It was awesome. Incredible. Sweet justice right there. We've lost our minds when it comes to what youth sports. I had a video, we don't have time to show it, of a fist fight at a Little League game. And I bet it wouldn't have been the first one that you've seen on the news. Hey, thanks for watching. To find out more about Houston's First, you can subscribe to our channel, or you can go to houstonsfirst.org.